Well, good evening. It's nearly 10 o'clock here in the UK. Linda, catch you anytime soon. That's fine. No worries. And to those of you in Australia, obviously it's already Christmas Day. We've got a couple of hours to go. But in certain parts of America, you're just into your sort of evening time. And I just really wanted to share this quick article that I had actually read. I think I read it yesterday, but this is the first time I saw an article about it. So this is a case actually in Steve Drizzen's backyard, because I believe he's originally from Philadelphia. Or is it just that he supports a Philadelphia team at some sport? I can't quite remember. So hi Linda, hi Paul, hi Alice. Okay, let's just jump straight in and have a look at this. Well, actually, let's do this one first. You'll remember, I think about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, I highlighted the case of Juan Rivera. And in the case of Juan, after his release, Juan's attorneys asked the court to order genetic testing on his shoes. The prosecution had tried to enter these into evidence in 1993. The shoes had Staker's, the victim's, blood on them, but the prosecution withdrew the evidence prior to Juan's first trial when they discovered that the shoes had not been available for sale anywhere in the United States until after the murder. DNA testing conducted on the shoes in 2014 indicated that the blood belonged to the victim, but it also contained another genetic sample. The DNA in this matched the sample taken from the victim. Juan's defense team insists that this is proof not only that the blood was planted, but that the real killer's DNA was inadvertently planted as well. The DNA has yet to be matched to an individual, but it has been linked to DNA from the scene of a home invasion and murder in 2000 in Chicago by 3 men. Only one man of the 3 has been identified. He was convicted of that crime and is in prison. He claims to have been wrongfully convicted. Just check, make sure everything is going as per it should. As you know, I always get a bit concerned about these. So let's just make sure. Yeah, that seems to be okay. And you'll remember as well, or maybe not. So this was one of my favourite bits. Following his exoneration, Juan sued the city of Waukegan and Lake County. He was awarded $20 million. At its time, the largest wrongful conviction settlement in United States history. This amount included $2 million from John E. Reed and Associates, the interrogation people, because Juan was given 2 polygraph examinations by Reed employee. He was reported as exhibiting general deception during the examination and subsequently admitted that he did lie to the test question about his alibi, but continued to deny any involvement in the death of the victim. They're paying $2 million, guys from the Reed technique. Okay, so that's one example of blood being planted on shoes. So here we have 3 Philadelphia police officers under investigation in connection with the shooting. Not just that he was arrested and then exonerated, he was actually shot. And now he's exonerated. This is by Samantha Melamed. And well, it was actually posted yesterday, but I only came across it in a post today as I was scouring through my various emails and stuff. Anyway, let's see if we can make this a bit bigger. Much better. Three Philadelphia police officers have been reassigned pending an internal investigation into the arrest of Termaine Joseph Hicks. Now, that isn't that bizarre? First of all, this guy has been exonerated, and they are in internal investigation, and yet they've simply been reassigned. In the case of Daniel Holtzclaw, the chief of police just sacked him straight away. Bizarre. So anyway, 3 Philly police officers have been reassigned pending an internal investigation into the arrest of Termaine Joseph Hicks, who was cleared of a 2001 rape last week after spending 19 years in prison. That decision comes after an investigation by the Innocence Project and the District Attorney's Conviction Integrity Unit raised serious questions about whether police had fabricated evidence, planted a gun, and arrested Hicks under false pretenses, all to conceal a police shooting of an innocent bystander who had rushed to aid a rape victim. Huh? Spent 18 years in prison. What did Steve do? He spent 19 years. Steve did 18. Police fabricated evidence, planted a gun, and arrested Hicks. I hope somebody warns Hicks that when you're exonerated and you're filing a lawsuit against these people, just be careful, okay? Now, this name, Vanessa Popkin, I've come across this before, but I can't think where. So I do apologise, Vanessa, but I'm sure I've seen your name before. They lied under oath to cover up for shooting an innocent man 3 times in the back. They shot him in the back. Innocence Project lawyer Vanessa Popkin said. A police spokesperson said the DNA provided details on the allegations only after Hicks' case was resolved. As a result of receiving this information, we have opened an internal affairs investigation into the allegations of police misconduct, the spokesperson said in an email. Officer Martin Vinson, who testified that he fired because Hicks was reaching for a gun and lunging toward him, and his then partner, Sergeant Dennis Zangolo, who testified he saw Hicks pulling up his, well, the Americans call them pants, we call them trousers, when police arrived, were both placed on restricted duty, the spokesperson confirmed. Vinson, most recently assigned to the 3rd Police District, has not responded to requests for comment. Zangolo of South Detectives Division declined an interview and referred questions to John McGrody, Vice President of the Fraternal Order of Police Lodge 5. McGrody did not return phone calls on Tuesday. The spokesperson declined to confirm the identity of the third officer under investigation. However, the court filings detail the role of Officer Robert Ellis, who testified at trial that he had recovered a .38 caliber Taurus from Hicks' right jacket pocket. Hicks' exoneration hinged in part on forensic analysis that cast doubt on his testimony. Both sides said it did not follow that the gun was smeared in blood while the interior of the pocket it supposedly came from was pristine. Okay, guilters, when you've got blood on one item but you've not got it on the other item that it should be, do you understand me, guilters? That shows wonkiness, okay? Wonkiness is the technical term for planted in this case. Okay? So, guilters, when you're watching this, for goodness sakes, pay attention to that bit. Both sides, that is both the defense attorneys and the district attorney's conviction integrity unit, said it did not follow that the gun was smeared in blood while the interior of the pocket it supposedly came from was pristine. Now, guilters, would you like me to say that a third time so that it sinks in? When you've got blood on certain items, but you've not got it on the items where it should be, then something is wrong. The gun was also registered to an active duty police officer who had not reported it missing. It gets better, doesn't it? It just gets better and better, or should I say worse and worse and worse. Reached by phone on Tuesday, Ellis, a crime scene unit officer, declined to comment or to confirm he was under investigation. He said he was meeting with McGrody of the the Fraternal Order of the 5th District or something like that. Fraternal Order of Police Lodge 5. He said he was meeting with McGrody of Police Lodge 5, who could answer any further questions. A spokesperson for the District Attorney's Office declined to comment on whether it would pursue action against the officers. That immediately concerns me because, as it says here, Pennsylvania's statute of limitations for perjury and other relevant criminal charges bars prosecution after 5 years. So the guy does 19 years, but if they don't do something within 5 years, well, I hope they do. Hicks' lawyers allege that the cover-up went well beyond the 3 officers. What does that remind us of? So I'm just, seeing as it's Christmas Eve, I'm allowed a couple of beers, and let's do that once more. Hicks' lawyers allege that the cover-up went well beyond the 3 officers. When you look more broadly at the other officers involved in this case, there is a larger pattern of official misconduct, Vanessa said. According to her filings, the process of constructing a cover-up began immediately. As I say, just remember, this guy, Hicks, he was shot in the back, and he's supposed to be reaching for a gun, and they shot him in the back. After shooting Hicks, Vincent approached and patted him down in search of his weapon. Hicks says Vincent muttered something like, so obviously Hicks is still conscious, damn, and then began to cry. Then, Hicks' lawyers say, Vincent used his police radio to contact dispatch. He said, I tried to get the male to, put his hands where I could see them, and he was reaching for something and I couldn't see it. Vanessa notes that several other police officers were at the scene as Hicks was shot or shortly thereafter. Ellis arrived with his then partner, Dwayne Watson, who is currently facing perjury charges after his testimony in a narcotics arrest was contradicted by surveillance video. Watson's role in the case was not clear, and he was not called to testify. So I think they're saying there, Ellis arrived with his then partner, Dwayne Watson, who is facing his separate perjury charges, but that the guy, Watson, in this case, was not clear. Okay, I'm not too sure what that's all about, but clearly there is some, to use the technical term, some severe wonkiness going on. The city has settled civil rights complaints naming Vincent and Ellis as defendants. One was a 2015 lawsuit alleging that Vincent and another officer had dragged a taxi driver falsely accused of stealing a cell phone out of his cab and assaulted him. In another, Ellis was one of a number of officers accused of beating a suspect and then arresting him for assault and resisting arrest. That's not a very uncommon one, is it? Vanessa also drew parallels to a criminal case, USA versus Mortimer, in which Ellis reported recovering 2 illegal guns from a suspect during a 1996 traffic stop. But that defendant was acquitted at a retrial when the defense presented evidence that Officer Ellis planted ballistics and falsely attributed guns to the accused that he did not in fact possess. So let me just check. Yeah, this is by Samantha Melamed, and here we have Samantha Melamed. So there we go. So thank you very much, Samantha, for sharing that. I'm just going to quickly go to the chat because I noticed that hi Bob, and hi Linda, and Alice, and Dark Side of the Moon. And I thought I saw some mention. Yeah, there we go. Oh, well, we are graced with the presence of not just the Hod himself, but also Doctor. So hi there. Merry Christmas, Mark and Doctor and Darkside, Bob, Alice, Paul. I don't know about you, but after following these sort of wrongful convictions for so long, it actually gets tiring to read about another case that has so many parallels with Stephen Brendan's. And it just beggars belief, doesn't it? When you get these guilters that say, oh, Steve was guilty because of the blood found in the in the RAV4, and it's if you were gonna if you were gonna frame somebody, it's not. It's obviously it's not difficult to do, and obviously this what was his name? Tellerman. What's his name again? Sounded a bit like Terramin or what's his name? Yeah, Termaine Joseph Hicks, Termaine Hicks. Um, if you're gonna frame somebody, get some blood, and not only the other thing I've noticed is that often it's presented. It's not just blood; it's DNA evidence. It carries more weight when you can call it DNA evidence. That Steve's guilty. And it just begged me belief watching some of Making a Murderer yesterday. You've got somebody like Mark Gundrum saying that, of Steve, that, what was it he said? It was along the lines of, the guy's got, what the dickens did he say? Let me see if I can find this. It was along the lines of, they'd. It was strange that this guy that they'd been drawing up this Avery task force for. I'll tell you what, I'd be quicker doing it this way. Be a lot quicker doing it this way because my computer is sometimes a bit slow. Let's see if I can find it. A moment. No, it's not that one. Oh yes, here we go. I put the wrong.
If you look at this case, if Mr. Avery is convicted of it, I guess you can look at the other side of that, where if he wouldn't have been released, Miss Halbach would still most likely be here.
And then you start thinking to yourself,
Mark Gundrum.
Maybe it was good he was in all that time.
Maybe it was good he was in all that time.
As it was, if he did this, what might he have done during that time? And you start questioning the whole system. You can't put people in prison because you think someday they might do something wrong, or even horrible, or heinous, but you still have these conflicting thoughts and feelings.
To me,
here was somebody that was capable of committing that heinous crime. It just beggars belief, doesn't it? It's. But anyway, we just see so many of this. Yes, Bob. Let's lighten the mood a minute. Yes, Mark and Sutman. I'm sure Santa has already been and deposited his delights in your stockings. I'll just share this one with you before I go. This is one I came across that I particularly liked. Actually, let's lighten things up a bit. This was a cartoon that I came across. Let's see if I can click on that and click on. I think it's this one. There we go. I love this. How the little banjo boy became a drummer. Didn't like the playing. It just reminds me of the dude and his singing. Anyway, I'm sure the dude is, as I posted earlier, I'm sure the dude is up in the big YouTube studio in the sky telling everybody about the time he nearly got arrested in Melbourne. I'm sure that's what he's doing. Hey, Mark. Okay, that was all I really wanted to share with you. It was just, it does get tedious after a while, I must admit, when you've got these guilters constantly saying, oh, well, look at the evidence. You've got this blood in the RAV4, as if the police would never plant blood. If you're framing somebody, that's what you do. It's like so many people have asked this question, haven't they? Of various people. I asked it of Herman. There's one episode where some guy asks Kratz about, you've got Steve's DNA inside the RAV, but you've no fingerprints. What's going on there? They just can't answer that. Of course, the answer is simple. Whilst you can plant DNA, and blood is a very, very good way of planting DNA, it's very, very difficult. Not impossible, but it's very difficult to plant fingerprints. Anyway, listen, I'm going to say cheerio, and we'll catch you all again soon. Enjoy either the rest of your evening or this morning's yes, Doctor. I think maybe keep the fishnets out of this. And hi Zelma, I haven't seen you for a while, so nice to see you here. Listen, I'll say cheerio, and we'll catch you again before too long. Cheers everybody. Bye for now.